bro, fresh out the oven, ready to run. What's hot this week at Just Bagel Run? Jeff and Aaron bring the fun. It's the weekly run, let's get it. The weekly run from Just Bagel Run.
Hey, welcome to the weekly run. This is part one of the exchange from the University of Central Florida, where Aaron and I got a chance to talk to some students, business students, and we hope you like this. A lot of questions and answers, a lot of opportunity for us to tell the story about Just Bagel Run. Part one this week, part two next week. Thanks for coming by. All right, welcome to the weekly run. I'm Jeff.
I'm Aaron.
And today we're talking about what's hot at Just Bagel Run. Aaron, what's hot today?
We're in a room. It's not it's the room in my house.
You are usually at,
people here.
we are in another new place.
Yeah.
We are
This is
at
new. This is not new to you.
Not new to me. I've been in this room before. This is the University of Central Florida, and we are at the Exchange, which is an opportunity for students to come and talk to business professionals.
Is that what we are?
We're podcast professionals, at the very least. We are going to answer some of their questions, and hopefully they learn something from us about starting a business, running a business. I'm Jeff. I founded Just Bagel Run in 2019 from my home kitchen. I was laid off from a job, and my wife asked me to make her a bagel. And I said, yes. So Aaron runs technology for Just Bagel Run. So all of everything that is customer facing and employee facing, he and his team have built from scratch, pun intended. Yeah, we're here at the Exchange. I think we've got this incredible group of students in front of us who...
Well, I'm noticing something about the students that I wasn't prepared for. They all have forms. And I didn't realize this was going to be a graded activity for me. And I don't feel like this is a self-reflection form that they have. I feel like we're being graded.
You are.
And it's been a minute
Only
since I've been in.
Exchange participants get graded. I'm here for
This is just me.
This is my fourth visit, so it's just Aaron. Yeah. No. No, I think this is how they get credit for being here, right? Yeah. But this is a really cool platform. So students are in various business degrees, right? Like integrated business, accounting, marketing. You could be in any business degree, right? So I think we should just open up the questions. How about this? I'll start with the question. How many of you have been to a Jeff's Bagel Run? More than half. 2 hands up in the back. That's great. More than half. So that's a good start. I've got one question up front ready to go.
My question is, so I only know the Jeff's Bagel location that's near the UCF. That's one that I go to the most often. But did you guys choose it as this year college? And then how do you choose your other locations as well?
Good question. So how do we choose our sites? Why did we choose the one closest to UCF? I don't know if should I tell the story about the one at UCF? Will I get in trouble not telling this story? Okay, so we
I have to say it.
I don't know, now I have to say it. So that location by Oviedo is great. It is what we call Class A real estate. And so this is on the corner of Main at Main, right? Like that, it's Alafaya Trail and Mitchell Hammock or McCulloch. What's the crossroad there? It doesn't matter. It's a main thoroughfare if you're driving through Oviedo, right? And it's on the way to UCF if you're coming south. It's right in front of a Publix, which is a huge anchor for a grocery store. There's multiple restaurants in there. It is like the best of the best real estate when it comes to what we look for a Just Bagel Run. On top of that, besides all of you frequenting the space, there's like thousands of household rooftops. And so household rooftops is a really key measure to why we locate. That space was actually designated to a different business, and we just beat them to it with our letter of intent or LOI. So when you're preparing to lease a space in a commercial business, you submit to a landlord a letter of intent. My name is Jeff, and I intend to lease this property for 10 years, and these are the terms that I want. And they say, oh, I don't know if I like all those terms, and they'll haggle back and forth a little bit, and you'll finally sign a letter of intent that says, I intend to sign a lease with you. And so we had submitted a letter of intent that was better than the letter of intent for the other business that was going in there, and the landlord ended up signing with us, which was great. So we pushed that other business out. I won't say the name of that other business because I don't want to advertise another bagel shop on our podcast.
Not without sponsorship.
Especially not without sponsorship. They can sponsor the pod, but yeah, you can take a guess.
But what's interesting about that process too, just to answer the second part of your question, is it's actually an ever evolving and really data driven process. where we look at all those factors, like what Jeff's talking about, and we learn as we open new stores and we test different theories of the market. It's a very iterative process, and I would say through our first half dozen to dozen stores, we learned a couple of strategic things that actually shifted our strategy as we went into new markets. And then anytime you go into a new region, part of the country, or even just different demographics, changes again. So we actually have an excellent team that have a lot of tools and a lot of data that actually put a lot more thinking into it than one might assume. You kind of think, oh, what's the best lease and does it look good? Is it high traffic? But that could also be a bad fit if it doesn't meet our customer base or again, just, what that particular audience might be. If that doesn't align, then people can walk right by it. Busy, but not busy.
Location here in Oviedo was the third one we opened. So
Yeah.
we have 35 now in 10 states. And Oviedo was number 3. The first 2 were terrible, terrible locations. Our original lease that we signed in Ocoee, it was like impossible to get. Like we had no collateral. We had no real business to speak of. I was selling bagels from my house. Like that's not a business. So our landlord really, he took a chance to some degree on us. He liked the bagels. He liked our business plan. And he was like, sign the lease. And so we did. It's like, I don't know, C plus real estate, maybe if you were to rate it off of not on a main road, but
Worked out.
it worked out well. So great question. Thank you.
I'm Amari. My question for you is, how did you decide where you wanted to expand in terms of your products? You started doing protein coffee and, the seasonal time, and how do you ensure that you don't have a lot of waste? I know you guys use too good to go. Do you do other things to help your sustainability in that sense, especially since, you're getting both daily and fresh?
This is a great question because there's multiple facets to this. So let's start with, how do we innovate on the menu? If you're not innovating, you're not bringing new something or changing something to bring it into market, it's really hard to stay relevant. And so I don't have my phone, I put it down over there, but like your phone is where the attention is. Like that little 5-inch or 8-inch device, whatever it is like got the attention of so many millions of people. And so you have to be iterative, you have to have ideas, you have to have things coming forward. So in January, there's a lot of better for you products that hit the market. And we thought that was just the perfect time for us to launch a protein offering. Timing with the market, the protein finally, we've been practicing trying to get this right for like probably 7 months. Because I don't know if you drink protein as like a protein shake or a supplement. A lot of it tastes like protein. Like it just has like this and you kind of expect that, right? Like you do expect that if you're like a protein drinker, but we didn't want it to taste like protein. We wanted it to taste like a latte. And so we went through a lot of proteins to get to the one we found. So it starts 8 months prior when we decide this is a flavor we want to chase, this is a product we want to have. And then we start to build from that. How do we get the flavor profiles we like? Do they align to what customers are asking for? Again, Aaron mentioned earlier, there's data behind all of this. There's a few different companies out there, but we use one called Technomic that references like 15,000 menus across the country, narrows it down to like the top 10% of those menus. And like you can see what items are on what menu, what flavors, what profiles. It's a really neat system that we have access to. And so we use that to help drive and make decisions. This innovation process is long.
And what's also interesting about that, just to add a sort of another facet to it, is a lot of it comes down to also what maps to what you can execute, what's the best for the business. So you want to, we could go and do something completely different, but there's technology needs for that, maybe new things to the POS or to the ordering process. There might be new kitchen equipment. So it's a much more challenging thing than just being like, hey, what's a new interesting food item? It's like, can we do this? How do we have to train staff? What new tools do they have? What ingredients do we need to source? So on the flip side of that, if you can maximize things that we're already doing and introduce new options, we launched on the same vein, we launched a series of cold foams because again, data was trending that's people really like that. That was very easy for us to add because we already had a full barista station. It was a very incremental change that brought a lot of new flavors to an existing menu. So it becomes kind of complex and integrated beyond just.
I'm working with Aaron on technology, and I'm working with Danielle, my wife, on operations and training. And she usually tells me I only get like to add 1 or 2 ingredients because it's complicated. And like as a franchisee, you got to buy that stuff. And is there really a return on investment? And we do testing. Sure, people will tell you they like the drink or it'll sell really well in a small market. But when you want to roll that out and say, hey, every store's going to have this and you got to spend X dollars on this new product that's kind of unproven, it can be a little scary. So we're going to roll out another product in July and it's adding, I think there's like 7 new ingredient items. And Danielle was like, we're having coffee this morning and she's like, there's seven new ingredients, Jeff, really? So it was.
I designed my system a long time ago, so that doesn't bother me. I've insulated myself from you.
No, I have zero ability to insulate. I live with her. So, I mean, she's great. She's what makes the Bagel Run, but like there's no insulation. It's just raw right there over breakfast at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
You did it.
I did. I chose this life. Good questions. We get all of them. I can't remember. There was a third part. Oh yes, thank you. This is where Aaron, again, technology is great because our systems are using a predictive algorithm based on sales trends and real-time data. So if an item is selling, then the system will ask us to bake more of it, but only so much based on what it thinks we're going to sell. So we don't make a lot of extra products throughout the day. We have plenty of dough to meet the needs of the potential guests, but that dough can roll over a day. It's got it truly has like a 48-hour shelf life. And so on the planning side, if we're having a slow day and X product didn't sell so well, we might have extra dough left over, so we'll produce less for the next day. So there is always a little bit of waste, and you mentioned it. We do use Too Good to Go as a way to get products into the bagels into the world from at a little bit lower price without having to throw them away. We really don't throw anything away. It goes home with our team. It goes to the local shop owners in our plazas. It gets dropped off by the general manager at the fire station or like the ER. So the majority of the product is really making it into the mouth of somebody, which is great. So
it's also being a scratch kitchen at the end of the day, where it's a very just in time, high turn business on ingredients. Don't have freezers, don't store anything, so there's really not waste. In general, it's all sort of made ready to go, and it goes out the door, and then we start again tomorrow.
And we're taking 2 trucks a week generally, so we have fresh produce coming in twice a week. So we don't have a lot of. We're also really space constrained, so we don't have a lot of place to put it. So it's a bit by design that we need to restock our fridge frequently. But good question. Thank you for asking us.
I mean, I go to Jeff's like all the time, like so much. But I want to ask, like, you started the business in 2019, and then the COVID hit. So how was that? Like, it's like a world pandemic, like out of nowhere. How did that affect the business? And was that like the handcuff, or did you use it to your advantage?
No, yeah, no doubt. So when we started in 2019, we really had zero intent to even have a business. I was truly making a bagel for Danielle just because we couldn't find one that we liked. And it's a happy accident that we ended up with a bagel shop. COVID sort of spurred that along. So when we had first started, we were selling only online. We had an Instagram and a TikTok and a Facebook page, and we'd post a menu and people would order and they'd come and pick them up from my house, or if they were close by, I'd drop off bagels to their doorstep. When the pandemic set in and that like lockdown orders took place in all those in our communities nationwide, we actually got busier. Like we benefited from people being more on social media. We benefited from that online community that we were creating because I could reach out to somebody. I could make contact with someone. They would order bagels and I would drop them off at their porch and then wait for them to like open the door to make sure they got them in and, stand 6 or 8 feet away and talk to that person. In many cases, that was the only person they saw all day, if they lived alone. And so it was a great way to build community and create something that brought a little bit of joy into a time period that was, kind of scary. And that was like 6 years ago now. 6 years ago. Doesn't feel like it. That was 6 years ago.
I think it just
feels like yesterday. It also feels like 100 years, so it's hard to know.
And I think that's an interesting part of timing with a business is that there's so many variables. Something that perceptively could be the wrong time could become the right time. Like you said, it probably launched you to a certain degree. just because of that total volume during that time. Everybody gets hooked on it in a very isolated environment. And then when you guys came out, you're able to build on that and expand.
And if you lived in Florida, you know that like right around like June or July of 2020, COVID ended. You know, like it was over. Like the world, like Florida just like opened. They're like, there's no more COVID. Like, yeah, sure, wear a mask if you want. It was very different than in many other places. And so we started doing markets. We were showing up at, farmers markets, and there were lines of people. And so people, they found us in that period of time that they were home. And after they found us, they sought us out, which was great.
Sure. What's one thing about starting a business that's not really talked about that you discovered while starting your business?
The social media world that we live in, where attention again is in our phones. I think the thing that people aren't talking about is the amount of failure they have. Like, not everything works the way you see it on social media. It's like one step forward, 2 or 3 steps back. One step forward, 2 or 3 steps back. And you hope by the end of the month, you're a little positive, right? So I think for me, the part that I didn't realize, but I actually enjoyed, was those moments where we experienced failure or setbacks, because those are learning opportunities. Those are chances for you to course correct, whether it was with a guest or a bad review when we had our stores open, or in the early days when I was just learning how to make bagels. It might have been like a recipe execution or a process execution. I had to figure out how to change that. So I think failure is the component that is often not talked about. But every person that starts a business will fail.
My name is Ethan, and I don't want to have you guys drop trade secrets here, but Aaron, how does technology go beyond like POS and just integration?
It's a great question. I'm glad we planted him.
Good job.
I appreciate it, Ethan. So really the way that we think of technology, and this is where it's a little bit different than than I'd say other people in this industry. And a lot of it comes from the fact we just didn't know. I'm not from the restaurant industry. My team, we're not from the industry. And when we came in, our experience has been in previous franchise businesses is that with a franchise business, really what a franchisee is buying is a playbook, right? They want a business that somebody's already thought through a lot of the big and scary and potential failure points, has ironed all that out, and they get a head start. That's one of the huge advantages of a franchise. And so in our experience, what we found is that the more of that you digitize, and the more of that you build into a software guided set of tools and processes, sort of digitize the playbook, then it runs really just that much better. So when we got engaged with Jeff and team in the early days, and I sat there and with my little notebook at way too early in the morning, baking bagels and just watching and observing, and as Jeff said, trying to figure out what is it that makes Jeff so special. What we really determined was not POS. We actually started out by building baking algorithms. We wanted to take the magic and the coordination that was Jeff and Danielle every day in the shop and make that into a system that somebody could just follow. And so when we built that, we then realized, oh, now we need sales data from our POS. And it wasn't easy to get because apparently this industry doesn't like to have tools talk to each other. Yeah. So we're like, I guess we got to build a POS. So we built a POS. And then, oh, shoot, now because we didn't buy a POS, now we got to do order management. So then we built an order management system. So before we knew it, we actually had built every piece of technology that is in the restaurant so that it could all talk together and be integrated. And what we found when we started to, scale and sort of be a bigger part of the industry was that is not what people normally do. And we kind of backed into solving one of the bigger problems that they have, which is systems that talk to each other. So yeah, POS is very important for sure, but we actually see our system as more of a franchise operating system for the business owners and operators than any one sort of single component. So yeah, it's really more about integrated data and integrated systems and reporting and just consistency across all those tools.
I would layer in that the systems that teams use every day are intuitive. Like the interface is really easy to pick up on, just like any app that you would pick up on, a device that you have. So they built a really great UI, and then they built the dashboards behind it. So as an owner or as an operator in my store, I can see how my store performance is, whether it's sales or bagel out of stocks, customer experience, all of those KPIs that are important to you as an owner show up every day right there in front of you in a fresh report or live in time in your store as it's happening, which is pretty cool.
And that's another important piece of the strategy overall. And I think that as we scale will continue to be a strategic advantage for us, is that a lot of the other systems that a business is going to encounter, and you guys started with systems like this, so there's nothing wrong with it. It's where you start, but the best systems are generally more generic. This is a point of sale system or an order management system that can run a bagel shop, a pizza shop, a hardware store. I mean, some of them are very generic, some of them are maybe more restaurant, but there's none that runs a Jeff's Bagel Run. So when we build our technology, there's nothing in it that isn't directly in need of somebody in the store or an owner operator. Like everything that's there is custom tailored to our business. And that makes us way more agile because we don't have to, oh, okay, Jeff needs this, but our division of pizza shops that we support needs something different. And so we got to kind of balance those two. We don't have that concern. We can build exactly what we need. So there's a strategic advantages in that as well, that the tools can be deeply tailored to what we need.
I was curious, I started using collaboration with Jeremiah, and I have a perfect good try to. But my question is what's the decision making for strategic mechanics and collaborations and partnerships, and why did you such part?
So Jeremiah's was like a bit of a happy accident. There was Jeremy and I have a mutual, and they were talking to both of us and we're like, you guys should get together. Like, it'd be so much fun for you two to just meet. If you don't know, Jeremiah's was founded here in Orlando, 1996. Jeremy started with his little Italian ice cart, and he's been here ever since. It's grown to over 100 locations nationwide, but he is a huge fan of the Bagel Run. I had no idea. He was telling his friend about it, and I was like, oh, I love the Italian ice. That's great. So we sat down and we met, and we talked about this last week on the pod. I have a deep belief that if it can be ice cream, it can be cream cheese. They're very close. They're very, very close when you're making them. And so he's like, I love this. And I said, so what are we going to do about it? And he's like, let's just try to figure something out. And so we stayed in touch. It was really organic in the effort to collaborate. So that one was, I would say, less strategic and more organic. But collaboration in business is usually done as a strategic advantage for both businesses. So I like to think about our Jeff's Jolts collaboration that we have with Red Bull. We crafted beverages with the Red Bull team to make sure that there was this infused product that had Red Bull in it, but also felt very Jeff's. And so that was, again, months in work. That's probably another what do people don't realize about business. And once you get there, it's all this stuff takes so much time. So everything takes longer than you think it will. At least twice. You're like, oh, I get the next month. Nope, you're 3 months out. Easy. So, the Red Bull collaborations, we launched those January this year. We started those in April of last year. And so when you find a partner you want to work with, you first have to make sure that the brand aligns, and they're like, oh, I like your brand, I like what you're doing, and you're building a relationship. And then once the relationship is built, you can start to innovate on product. You can start to find those kind of key stakeholders that are going to make decisions. And then you get a marketing brief, and then you get this, and they're like, oh, but we don't allow you to use that product in food. And so it becomes very collaborative, because without one, you don't have the other.
But I'd say from our experiences, wouldn't you agree that a lot of it gets momentum when there's just aligned, I'd say interest, but really it's when we find a brand that we work with that it just seems like it just feels right. Right? There's good energy from that brand. We have aligned customers. Those things actually tend to take off and sort of get momentum just by the joint interest. Everybody's excited.
We definitely have had people that we've approached who are like, oh, no, thank you. And then we've had people approach us and we're like, no, thank you. So I think that there's got to be a little bit of synergy. There has to be some kind of I don't know, it's got to be two people have to have a spark. There has to be the willingness to create a relationship, because ultimately that's what will make that product as it comes out blossom.
Been seeing. Thank you guys for coming. I kind of want to ask you more of like a personal and fun question. What has been kind of your favorite aspects of being a part of this business, or your favorite memory that you've had along the way while creating this amazing, well-loved bagel company?
There's a lot. I would say overall the best part is still the people. Like, I mean, hands down, the best part is still the people. I think I've been to almost, by the end of this summer, I'll have been to all 35 stores. Some of the franchise stores are like their second or third location. I won't get to them right away. There's a few that I haven't been to. But every time I go to a grand opening, there's someone who comes up to me and says, "You probably don't remember me, but I bought bagels off your porch." Which is wild. We've opened stores in Las Vegas, Colorado, not Las Vegas, Colorado. Las Vegas, Colorado. I know. Blah, 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 blah.
It's a business school.
How about we mark that clip and just cut it out? And I never made the mistake.
No,
We've got stores in Las Vegas, Nevada, Colorado Springs, Chicago. Every single one of them, someone's come up to me and said, "I bought bagels off your house. I'm so happy for your success. Congratulations." It's really cool. So I see, like, when that happens, it's really great. Quick story. Last month, when did we open Nolensville, Tennessee?
A month ago.
It was only a month ago.
Yeah, dude.
So last month when we opened Nolensville, I heard someone call my name. They said, "Hey, Jeff," and I recognized the voice, and it was Holly Trissler. Holly and her husband Justin were Disney cast members that were furloughed when Disney shut down during COVID. In that period of time that they were furloughed, they set up a little woodworking business, and they were like our market mates. Like, they had their setup right next to our setup at a lot of markets, and it really helped them sustain their life while they didn't have a job. They ended up signing a contract with Shanghai Disneyland, and they went over there. She was Belle, he was Gaston. They were very attractive people, and they did that for 9 months, and then came back to America. They landed back in Orlando for a few months, and they ended up moving to Nashville. I had no idea. I didn't see them very often. They came into the shop every once in a while, but they walked into the Nolensville store, just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and they're like, "Do you remember us?" I'm like, "Yeah, how can I not remember you? This is incredible. What are you doing in Nashville?" They're like, Justin's like, "I'm a cop now. I work for Nashville PD." And she's like, "I still run the woodworking business from home." And I'm like, "This is crazy." Danielle's like, "Who are you talking to?" And they turn around, and Danielle just starts crying. She's like, "Oh my God," but it was really cool. And when I say that happens all the time, it's all the time. It's, I'm sad that it might not happen, at some point. And that's what I worry about. So I'm trying to find those moments to create those experiences, is something that to me is still really important. So,
Jeff, I just had a question for you. So what roles did you work prior to starting the business, and how did those roles help you prepare for the position that you're in now? And I also have a second one. Early on, what sacrifice did you have to make?
Good questions.
great questions. What roles did I have early on that helped me prepare for this? And then what sacrifices did I have to make? So I spent the majority of my career working in retail. Graduated from UCF in 1999, and I went to work for Target stores right out of school, and their business partnership that they had with UCF. I got a job as an executive team leader, which is an assistant store manager. I really progressed my career at Target for 13 years. I learned a ton of skills at Target around operations, systems, processes, leadership. They taught leadership. They taught you how to communicate with a team member. They taught you so much. And that was 14, 15 years of employment. And I went to work for Apple Retail. I was a senior store manager. It was the busiest place I'd ever worked in my life. If you've been in an Apple store, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Imagine working there for 9 hours a day. It's stimulus overload. And I went to work for another big company, Adidas Group. I ran a few stores. They had multiple brands, so I learned multiple branding and learned a lot of visual merchandising stuff there. And then I took a job at the North Face. And so at the North Face, that was a huge global brand. Learned a ton about storytelling there. So for me, I think all of that together is what gave me this kind of ability to say, yeah, I'll start a bagel shop. I had no idea what I was doing, but I felt good about storytelling. I felt good about process. And Danielle worked for Target and Ross Dress for Less, so she has a ton of operational process leadership experience as well. She's better at it than I am. I thrived at Apple and Adidas and the North Face because it was like kind of loose. Like it was like they're new. Like it was all like retail was new to them. Like Target had been doing it for 50 years. Like there was a process for everything, and I had to try to find my way into those processes, but I could create stuff at those other jobs, and so that was really helpful for me. Did I get all your answer them all? Oh, the sacrifice question. Gosh, everything. I mean,
Over and over.
over and over and over again. First, let me start by saying that success should be measured off of your own personal goals, not what other people think you should achieve. Because everyone thought I was crazy when I didn't go out and get a job immediately. Like they thought I was absolutely nuts. They're like, you should get a job. Like, what do you mean you're gonna make your wife go back to work? I was like, first of all, she can do whatever she wants. Second of all, she's gonna get a better job than I am. And who's to say I won't be a great stay-at-home dad? But that was really weird, right? Like it's an odd place to be. And then I started making bagels at home, and I have 2 older kids that are post-grad now, and one's still in college, but they were like, Dad, you're like making videos on the internet. You're like 40, please stop. And I'm like, sorry, can't, I gotta sell bagels, like it just, so I think that the sacrifices you make along the way they're all personal. Sometimes it's time with your family. Sometimes it's not being able to go to an event that you might really enjoy. But if you want to be successful for yourself, then you have to do everything that you believe you need to do to be successful.
Interesting reframing with sacrifice too. I think it doesn't really change what it is because there is still a hard choice there, but it's really an investment. And Jeff has made way more than I have, certainly in starting this business. I got to jump on when it was already a rocket ship, and I'm just holding on for dear life. But it's very easy to see that stuff as loss inherently and not as the investment that it really is. And what's nice about that paradigm shift and thinking of it in terms of an investment versus just a sunk cost sort of mentality with just sacrifice is that it brings your mind back around to the fact that I should get something for this. I think where a lot of people get burnt out is that they're just throwing that time into thinking that they have to because it's a grind, but not being strategic about where that investment is. And it also helps you evaluate whether or not a sacrifice in that regard is worth it.
Sure.
And because not every sacrifice is worth it. There's times where you've got to make the right choice as a business owner for yourself.
Yeah.
And what you find is that actually everything's fine. Like the world doesn't fall apart.
It's true. This is why my co-host had to be Aaron, because he does like lots of zeros and ones, and he always brings it right back down to the point. Thanks for doing that. Great questions.
Yo, fresh out the oven, ready to run. What's hot this week at Just Bagel Run?